Who the fact really is Vercingetorix?
He was a young nobleman of Gergovia, the capital of the Aveni tribe, during the invasion of Gaul by Julius Caesar. That is, he was a nobleman until early 52 BC, when he decided it was time to join the revolt against the Romans. He raised his dependents to prepare for war. However, the other noblemen believed to fight the Romans was a dire risk and expelled Vercingetorix along with his followers. What the other noblemen hadn't expected was that Vercingetorix would continue to raise an army, return to the city, and be chosen as chieftain of the Averni.
Seems like he pulled an Uno reverse card on them.
Pretty much. He felt separated the Gauls stood no chance against the invading army, so he immediately leapt into action as ruler, uniting the remaining Gallic tribes under one banner, a feat never accomplished before.
What do you mean it was never done before?
Well, the Gauls were separated by tribes, so they were essentially a group of micronations, all with different beliefs, ways of living and economies. Much like today, it took a greater enemy to look past all that. That's when he took the fight to Caesar. Vercingetorix knew his forces wouldn't stand a chance against the Romans directly, so he used guerrilla tactics to disrupt the Roman supply train and launch surprise attacks to bide time for the Gaul defences. He also knew that the Romans were living off the land, so he took to a scorched earth tactic, burning all the lands and towns in Caesar's path, ensuring the enemy will never see the rest and resources an army needs.
Wouldn't that mean his army was losing precious resources too?
This is true, but a risk he was willing to take if it meant defeating the invaders. He burned all except one town, Avaricum, which he left standing due to its abundant defences and strong protests from its people. Vercingetorix attempted to aid the town by running harassing engagements against the Romans on the roads leading to Avaricum, but inevitably, after almost a month of siege warfare, the starving legions took the town with its resources, and of the 40,000 residents, Caesar left 800 alive.
Maybe they were better off burning the town.
You might be right, but hindsight is 2020. Shortly after, at the Battle of Gergovia, the Fates would have different plans for the legions. Caesar surrounded the city and laid siege, but Vercingetorix thought ahead and bribed the Roman allies, the Aedui, convincing them to attack Caesar's supply route. Caesar had the choice to focus on the siege or deal with the rebellion. Caesar chose to leave a small force in charge of the siege while he took care of the rebellion. When he returned, he brought with him 10,000 pro-Roman Aedui horsemen. Unfortunately, his men mistook them for Vercingetorix's forces, and the Romans attacked.
I see, they probably thought Vercingetorix had allies flanking them.
Exactly. It was a logistical nightmare for the Romans. Alerted by the calamity that was ensuing outside the city walls, Vercingetorix launched a devastating cavalry charge. Successfully routing the Roman army, determined to end things there, Vercingetorix decided to give chase with cavalry but took heavy casualties and was forced to retreat to the nearby stronghold of Alesia.
It sounds like the Gauls may have gotten a little too cocky too soon.
Probably. Although, how would you feel being the first army to defeat Rome's legion in your country? Caesar gave chase. Rather than launching another siege, he built a wall encircling the fortress, effectively cutting it off from the rest of the world. Before Caesar was able to close off the wall, Vercingetorix was able to get a messenger out to summon allies. Caesar's scouts, however, spotted the impending forces, immediately reporting back that there were Gauls coming. So Caesar, now facing Gauls front and back, made a bold move. He had his men build another wall facing outward around his legions that closed them into a donut-shaped fortification around Alesia.
That is bold. Wouldn't that mean Caesar and his men were trapped?
Yes and no. On the day of the battle, Vercingetorix led the attack from the inside, while the other Gauls attacked from the outside, closing in on the Romans. They were nearly able to break the Roman fortifications and eradicate the invaders until Caesar personally led his last reserves into battle, dealing a devastating blow to the Gallic forces, winning a decisive battle for the Romans and establishing the new Roman Empire. In order to protect his men's lives, Vercingetorix surrendered. Vercingetorix was imprisoned for nearly 6 years until he was paraded around the streets of Rome, then publicly executed in 46 BC during the first of Caesar's 4 triumphs.
That feels dirty. The Romans took everything from Vercingetorix and his people in the name of supremacy, and as if that wasn't enough, they treated him like the savages they believed the Gauls to be.
Unfortunately, this is true. In the end, Vercingetorix was unsuccessful in thwarting the Roman invasion, but he did succeed in uniting the Gallic tribes, something that never happened before or again for many years after, and was the only leader able to deliver defeat to the Romans throughout the entire invasion.
Guess those other noblemen were right after all.
That's what you took from this?